I am, glad to be here to, an honor to read from Martin Espada, especially on today, Martin Luther King Day, and in particular at Revolution Books, where the world really does come first. And that's a rare thing and needs to be increasingly less rare as this year goes on and as time goes on. We can very often get caught up in the annals of our own history or histories, as people and stemming from oppressed nationalities. But the decisive difference is people have been fighting back for years, absolutely. But the decisive difference is whether or not we get out of this shit for real. And that's going to take actually standing for the people of the world. Not the people of America, not black people, not just our people, but the people of the world. And so this is for them. This is from Martin Espada, who is a professor of poetry at the UMass Amherst. He's an award-winning Latino poet who Puerto Rico frequently comes up as a reference in a lot of his poetry, who has a background in civil rights and activism, an award-winning poet. This is called and was delivered especially for this event at the bookstore. This is called Not For Him, The Fiery Lake of the False Prophet. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. From Donald Trump, June 16, 2015. They woke him up by pissing on his face. He opened his mouth to scream in Spanish, so his mouth became a urinal at the ballpark. Scott and Steve, the Leader brothers, celebrating a night at Fenway, where the Sox beat the Indians and a rookie named Rodriguez spun the seams on his changeup to hypnotize the tribe. Later that night, Steve urinated on the door of his cell, and Scott told the cops why they did it. Donald Trump is right. All these illegals need to be deported. He was a Mexican in a sleeping bag outside of JFK on a night in August. So they called him a wetback and emptied their bladders on his hair. In court, the lawyer spoke his name, Guillermo Rodriguez. Immigrant with papers, crop picker in the fields, trader of bottles and cans collected in his cart. Two strangers squashed the cartilage in his nose like a can of drained beer. In dreams, he would remember the shoes digging into his ribcage, the pole raked repeatedly across his cheekbones and upraised knuckles, the high five over his body. Donald Trump is right, said Scott. And Trump said, the people who follow me are very passionate. His hands fluttered as he spoke. A demagogue's hands, no blood under the fingernails, no whiff of urine to scrub away. He would orchestrate the chant of "Build that wall" at rally after rally, bellowing till the blood rushed to his face, red as the demagogue in a grip of masturbatory dreams, a tribute to the new conquistador. The wall raised up by Mexican hands, Mexican hair and fingernails bristling in the brick, Mexican blood swirling in the cement, like raspberry syrup on a vanilla sundae. On Cinco de Mayo, he leered over a taco bowl at Trump Tower. Not for him the fiery lake of the false prophet, reddening his ruddy face. Not for him the devils of Puritan imagination, shrieking in a foreign tongue and climbing in the window like the immigrant demons he conjures for the crowd. Not even for him 10,000 years of Leader brothers streaming a fountain of piss in his face as he sputters forever. For Trump, hell is a country where a man in a hard hat paving the road to JFK Station, sees Guillermo and dials 911. Hell is a country where EMTs kneel to wrap a blanket around the shivering shoulders of Guillermo and wipe his face clean. Hell is a country where the nurse at the emergency room hangs a morphine drip for Guillermo so he can go back to sleep. 2,000 miles away, someone leaves a trail of water bottles in the desert for the border crossing of the next Guillermo. We smuggle ourselves across the border of a demagogue's dreams. Confederate generals on horseback tumble one by one into the fiery lake of false prophets. Into the fiery lake crumbles the demolished wall. Thousands stand, sledgehammers in hand, to await the bullhorns and handcuffs, await the trembling revolvers. In the full moon of the flashlight, every face interrogates the interrogator. In the full moon of the flashlight, every face is the face of Guillermo.